So now it's time to start with the JavaScript part of the loan calculator application. So for that we need to use the script.js file. Now inside of that, first we need to create the function, because inside the button, if you see, we have added here a calculate btn. So we need to add a listener to this particular button, and then inside the listener we need to call a function. So first we are going to set the listener, and then we will define the function code. So here first we need to get the ID of the button. So here I will be typing document dot get element by ID, because we have used the ID in the buttons. So again we need to copy the ID name. So I'm going to copy it and just coming back to the script.js and pasting the ID name here. And after that I'm going to add the listener, which is add event listener. So we are going to listen to the click event. So here I will be specifying the click, and then we need to pass here a function which is calculate loan. So this function we need to create here. So I'm going to terminate it, and then I will be here specifying the function, then calculate loan, which is the function name, and then we need to specify the body. Now inside of this particular function we need to get the IDs of these three elements. So here we need to type the again const. So the first one is actually a loan amount. So this actually equals to document dot get element by ID, and again we need to provide the ID, and also we need to get the value. So here we need to use the value attribute, means the value. We want to get the values of these input types. Now inside of the double quotes we need to provide the ID of the loan amount input type. So the ID of the loan amount input is actually the loan amount input. So we need to paste this ID, and then we need to wrap this entire code inside the parse float function, just like we have done in the previous projects. So here I will be pasting the code, because we need to actually parse it into the float. The reason for that, because the input element value is treated as a string. So that is the reason, because you need to just simply search for it why we are actually using here a value. It's not a very hardest thing, and I have explained in the previous project as well. Then I duplicate the code into multiple times, means 2 more times, and then I will be changing here the variable names and also the ID name. So this one is going to be the interest rate, and the third one is actually the loan term, which is actually the duration of the loan, which is in months. Then we need to provide the IDs. So again I'm going to copy this one here and pasting the name of the ID, then copy the loan term input ID and pasting it here. Now we get the values of all of the three variables. It's time to check whether these values are actually properly entered, means we don't want to enter here a string value. So for that we need to add a check. So here we need to specify the if condition, and starting the block of the if and also the block code of the if. Then we are going to use here is nan function. Inside of that, first we need to pass the loan amount, and then here either of them is actually incorrect, means is not a number value. Then we want to display this an alert box. So if I enter here interest rate, and again if I use here a logical OR operator, again is nan function is nan, and then here inside that we need to provide the loan term. So if it is an input to values, means so if the values are not a number values, then we want to display a message which is like. So here we are going to display the alert if the values are not properly entered. So if I control save it, and if I click on the button, then you can see please enter the valid numbers for all fields. If you leave it, all of them are empty, and if you enter here like because it is not going to accept a text. If you enter here a special symbol, it is not going to accept it. So we added a condition for the empty values as well. So after that we need to add the other lines of code after the end of the if statement. Here we need to first calculate the monthly interest. We need to here create couple of variables. So first is actually the monthly interest is equal to, in the first we actually need to interest rate, we need to divide it into 100. So 100, and then we need to actually divide it with the 12. So first we are actually converting the interest rate to a decimal value, a simple value, and then we are going to actually divide it with the 12, because we have actually 12 months. So we get the monthly interest. because this is actually an annual interest rate. So we need to convert it into monthly interest rate because that will be used when calculating the monthly payment. Then we need to create the another variable const. So this is actually a total payments. Total payments is equal to, so it is actually the loan term, which is the duration of the loan, which is 24 months, 36 months, depending upon the number of months that you specified in this particular input field. So that will be treated as a total payment value. Then we need to create the monthly payment variable. So this variable is also required for the calculation of the total interest. So we need to calculate the monthly. So here I have made a typo. It's actually a const. So the first thing is we need to start the brackets. So here we need to specify the loan amount, which is the main amount of the entire loan. And then we need to actually use here a monthly interest. Then we need to here calculate the denominator part. So it is actually a formula which I used. So it is like math.pow power function, and then we need to actually here use the summation, next summation value, which is monthly interest, and then we need to provide here a comma, and also I'm going to here use the word wrap so that the code will be came out automatically in the next line, and then we need to minus it with the total payment. So this is a formula that will be used to calculate the monthly payment. So it is actually a part of the accounting. So I'm not actually going to explain the accounting stuff because I googled this particular formula and converted into this particular format so that I can calculate the exact same loan just like a web application did in the bankrate.com. I have shown you in the preview part of the video. Now after getting the monthly payment, then we need to calculate the total interest. So for total interest, again we need to here create the variable const. So it is like total interest, and then we need to here again use the braces. Then first we need to here provide the monthly payment, which is actually the we have calculated it here. Monthly payment multiplied with the total payment, because monthly payment and total payment we need to multiply it, and then we need to minus the loan amount. So we get our total interest that we want to pay. Then we need to pass these values to the display function. So here I will be calling a new function. This is a user defined function that we need to create here, display result. Display result. Instead of that, we need to pass the two values, which is the monthly payment, and then also we need to pass the total interest. You can also pass the like loan amount to display the total loan amount, but I'm actually going to just only display the monthly payment and the total interest. Now it's time to create this display result function. So coming outside of this particular function, which is the calculate loan function, so here we'll be using the function keyword, then display result, and then this is going to accept two parameters. So first we need to define these parameters, which is like our monthly payment. So I'm going to use the same variable names, monthly payments and total interest. And after that, I will be here creating a variable const, which is for the result div. Result div. So first we need to get the ID of this particular final result div, which is the document dot get element by ID, and then we need to provide the ID. So it is actually a result. If I check it here index.html, so yes, it is a result. Alright, so we have get the ID of the result element, and after that we need to update its inner HTML, which is result.div.inner HTML, and then I will be using here a template string, which is a character at the top of your tab key on the keyboard. So I'm going to terminate this, and then I will be here split this code into multiple lines. So here I will be using a paragraph element so that the code will look more clear. So paragraph element, and then I want to display it in the strong, so I'm also going to use the strong tag. Then I'm going to copy this and pasting it one more time so that we can get the closing tag as well. Alright, and instead of that, first I'm going to construct the message monthly payment colon, and then we need to use a dollar symbol, then the curly brackets, and the variable value that we want to display, which is the monthly payment. And of course we need to use here a two fixed because it is going to display the lots of decimal values. So 2 fixed, and then we need to specify here a 2. Alright, and similarly I need to duplicate it to one more time, and this is actually the total interest, and then here we need to provide the total interest. Right, so I'm going to save it. It's time to check whether the application successfully able to display the result or not. So I'm going to use here a $5,000. Interest rate is going to be like 4.5%. Loan tenure is like 24 months, and you can see this is how the application is working. If I go to the bank rate, so you can see this is the bank rate loan calculator. If I maximize it and just split the code into multiple lines, this is the one that we have developed. This is the final version of the application that I already developed. So now it's time to check whether the application is. So we are going to add these same values. So loan amount $5,000, loan term in months. So I'm going to add here a 60 months, and then the rate of interest I will be increased to like 8%. So you can see now the monthly payment is $101.38. If I click on this, then you can see actually the interest rate is 4.5. So I'm going to change the interest rate to 8%. Click on calculate, then you can see now the formula calculate the same values just like the real application of this bankrate.com website. So that's it for this particular module, guys. We have successfully developed the loan calculator application. Alright, so if you are like this entire module, then make sure to leave a review. So thank you for watching. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.